Educational GMAT. Your partner in your GMAT journey.
This is an official question. If the median annual salary, now first thing guys, what would you think of that when there are salaries of 127 employees, how would you find the median? First of all, you would mentally arrange the salaries in ascending sequence, those 127 salaries, and then which one would be the median? Since n is equal to 127, which is an odd number, so the median will be n plus 1 by 2th value, right? So 127 plus 1 by 2th value, which would be 64th value. So the 64th value when the salaries of these 127 employees are arranged in ascending sequence. So that's the minimum understanding you should have before you even look at the options. Yes, friends. So mind you, which of the following must be true? Must be true. We are not looking at can be true. We are looking at must be true. Which of the following must be true? All right, you were very, very quick here. So Harshita, I think first one. Okay, all right, all right. Let's wait for others. So if we arrange the data in ascending sequence, right, then let's say this is the 60, remember 64th value is the median. So 64th value has to be 35,000. And then obviously the final value, which is 127. So the question is asking which the following must be true. At least, let's look at first one, at least 64 of the employees. Why did you say first is the right answer, Harshita? At least 64 of the employees have an average value. All right. Now 64 of the employees. Which 64 of the employees are we talking about, by the way? These. These would be a total of 64. Oh, incidentally, this is something that I am hoping you guys are comfortable with. If we have to find out, for example, how many integers are there between 2 and 8? How many integers are there between 2 and 8, including 2 and 8? How do we find out, by the way? Last minus first plus 1. So which would be 7. Which are those 7, by the way? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number? Gaps as in? Oh, then anyway, it would be last minus first minus 2. Excluding first and last, right? Then we just subtract. I'm sorry. I'm just minor mistake here. Last minus first minus 1. Excluding the first and the last. If it is including the first and the last minus first plus 1. Okay, now the reason I was telling you this was how many employees are there between 64th employee and 127th employee, including these two employees. So again, last minus first plus 1. So that would be 64, right? So clearly, now notice we've arranged the salaries in ascending sequence. Since 64th value is 35K, 65th value would be what? Either 35K or more. Same with this and so on, which means that these 64 employees from this employee to this employee clearly have a salary of either 35K or more. That's for sure. How about the 63rd value? That can also be 35. In fact, this can also be 35 and so on, right? So at least 64 employees. Which 64 employees again are we talking about? These 64. At least 64 of the employees have a salary of 35K or more. At least. There could be others also, but these 64 definitely have a salary of 35K or more. Okay, so first one is definitely correct. Very nice. How about the second one? At least 63. Now, which 63 is it perhaps referring to? The first 63. So it says at least 63 of the employees have an annual salary that is less than 35,000. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that this person, the 63rd employee, can have a salary of 35K. 62nd employee can also have a salary of 35K. So we cannot conclude that at least 63. I'm hoping everyone is clear. So what I'm saying is that the scenario that is given to us as part of the question does not preclude the possibility that 63rd employee has a salary of 35K. In which case, clearly there are only 62 employees that would have a salary of, let's say, lesser than 35K. While second option is saying that at least 63 have a annual salary that is less than 35K. Wrong. Okay, let's look at this. At most 64 of the employees have an annual salary that is 35K or more. Now notice actually these two are kind of contradictory, right? This says at least 64, this is says at most 64. So anyway, we've chosen first. Now, for the same reason, it says at most 64 have a salary that is 35K or more. Again, 63rd can also have a salary of 35K. So we cannot conclude that maximum of 64 employees have a salary of 35K or more. Friends, are we clear? So other employees, for instance, 63rd employee, 62nd employee, etc., may also have salaries of 35K. So second and third are not necessarily true. All right. So any doubt, guys?